In the beginning, all was dark, and the Minecraft gods said, "Let there be glow squids." I mean, they're kind of cool and everything, but I don't know what to do with that.
Well, all right. I guess that's what we're doing today. Let's check out some of the new features of 117, including glow squids. Glow squids everywhere! All right, so ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everyone in between, I am OverHugs, and welcome to our world in glorious 117 goodness. You'll notice it's a little bit different because some of the mods that we use and some of the shaders and such have not been updated yet for 117. So we do have a bit of setup to go, but I'm still excited about the new features and I want to share them with you. So why don't we go ahead and start doing some of that. Ouch. To get started, let's talk about glow squids and how they spawn, because that's what most of this episode is going to be about today. Glow squids are a little different than our regular squid friends here in that they can't just spawn in open oceans. You have to be below sea level, so meaning 62 or lower. Their spawning conditions, 1, have to be in total darkness. 2, their spawn block, meaning a block of water, needs to be no higher than 5 blocks above an overworld stone variant, and that is stone, deep slate, andesite, diorite, granite, or tuff. As long as you have both those conditions of a light level of 0 and an overworld stone variant, a glow squid can spawn in water above it. And that includes running water. So it's not just water sources themselves. Now, that sounds a little tricky, but there's some ways that we can maximize this. So right here is a quick example of how we can create something that has the spawning conditions for glow squid. If I turn on my light levels, you can see that in here, there is no light, even though it is kind of lit up because of our client. The light level is 0 all the way across here. As well as if we go down here, this is below sea level. It is below 62. So this is the area that we can create a fairly simple glow squid spawner. And believe it or not, that's exactly what this is. This is the mechanic that we're going to use in order to create our glow squid farm. All we have here is a single source of water surrounded by fence gates flowing down into an area that is 1 block deeper than the surrounding area itself. But down here is the block that we're talking about. This is our overworld block that will allow us to have glow squid spawnings. But the problem is, if we go 22 blocks away, it's highly unlikely that we're going to get any glow squid spawning in our area here. And that's because we are surrounded with water source blocks. In 117, there's a new type of mob spawn cap, and what it's called is underwater water creature. Glow squids and axolotls are both a part of that, and they have identical spawning conditions. So if you're going to have a farm that's going to have glow squids, they're probably going to have axolotls as well. If you remember from our general mob spawning episode, the general mob cap is 70 different monsters that can be in the world at any point in time per player. So depending on where you are and how many other people are playing with you, you could have up to 70 mobs in your loaded chunks. Now, that's a decent amount, but the underwater creatures mob cap is 5. So there can only be 5 glow squids or 5 axolotls in your loaded world at any point in time per player. That's not a lot to work with, but we'll do it anyway. And one of the ways that we can combat the water problem is by building this in a desert. As you can see, we've chosen this area that has pretty much no water whatsoever in the immediate area. There's some over there, but that will be unloaded when we come and build in our location right here. You can see you can't even see it anymore. So with all our projects, why don't we take a super speed potion and get into a time lapse? Whoa, that's the inside of my head. All right, let's walk through the farm now that it's done. You can see up here, OverHugs is sitting in the AFK platform, looking off into the distance, admiring the ocean view. But let's go down and check out the farm itself and walk through now that it's totally built. And you can see up here what looks like glass. But Hugs, I can hear you asking, you said it had to be total darkness. It does. This is the new tinted glass in Minecraft that we went through and gathered up the materials for on the stream. We hunted and found a geode. So this gives us the ability to look through and see the farm transparently, even though it will not let any light through, which is fantastic. And you can see the glow squids spawning and falling down. And that's basically how this farm works. Each one of these water sources here is the same thing that we saw before. They're encapsulated by the fences, so that's the only thing keeping them. And whenever anything spawns, either in the water source or the flowing water itself, the second it tries to move, it falls out of the water column and comes all the way down to our killing chamber. And we've just basically built enough here to where it will maximize the mob cap. There's no point in really going over this. When I measured it, we were at the 5 almost constantly. That is that underwater creature's mob cap. So we can come over here and you can see the entirety of it, where we have our soulfire campfires and the minecart underneath that's going through and collecting everything that dies on the soulfire campfires themselves. And that's pretty much the farm. It's very simple. The only reason we built it this big was to have a 100% chance of maximizing the spawn cap. And you can see here, if there's any other water sources, they do have the potential to spawn in either the axolotls or the glow squid themselves. And there are some over here. If we really cared about it, we'd probably have to clean up some of these water sources here in order to maximize it. But quite frankly, we don't really need that many glow squid. Like, you can see it's coming through and they're spawning fairly regularly and falling to their death, and each one is going to have a glow squid ink. So this farm's not incredibly productive. It's about 2,000 ink an hour, but it's more than enough for our needs. And as we go over here and check out the storage, I've been running this for probably about an hour itself, and we have 2/3 of a chest completely full. And this wasn't ideal. This wasn't perfect. A lot of it was me just hanging out here building the storage system itself, which is just the standard minecart unloader that uses a hopper minecart in order to get the minecart going as quickly as possible. We've done this before, so I'm not going to really walk through it in detail. But that is this farm. Again, this is just something that I designed. I hadn't seen a really good glow squid farm yet that had the throughput that I really wanted. So yeah, this is relatively new, and I'm kind of pleased with it. And that is our farm. Another thing that we found while we were doing this project was this, and I was super excited to find this because this is my first time ever experiencing this in an actual Minecraft world. Anytime you see bone blocks like this in the world natively, this is a fossil. Fossils are pretty rare. You only get them in Y coordinates 40 to 49 in desert swamps and such, and they're only a 1 in 64 chance to generate in a chunk. So it's pretty rare to find them. This is what it looks like when it's completely normalized. Like, we haven't done any extrication of it yet. But let's go ahead and do that, and I can show you what it looks like when you've removed all the surrounding area. And now that we've dug this out, we can see that this is the spine variant of a fossil itself. It's supposed to be the spine going across there, and then like the ribs or the vertebrae coming across here. There is a chance that any part of this can be replaced by an ore block, such as coal ore. In some versions of Minecraft, these can be diamonds, but obviously that's not our version. There's a number of different versions of artifacts that you can find, but this is the one that we've got, and I'll show the rest on the screen. I still think it's pretty cool. I have never seen this before, and prior to 1.16, this was the only way I believe you could get bone blocks naturally. So, kind of cool. While we're flying back through the Nether to our portal at home, I wanted to remind people that we have been streaming on Twitch fairly regularly now, every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So if you've been enjoying this content and you'd like to see more of it live, please join us at twitch.tv/overhugs. And now we're back in our storage area to show why we wanted all this in the first place. Like, why do we even need glow squid ink? Well, the reason is for twofold. One, it gives us the ability to change these signs and make them into glow item frames as opposed to regular item frames, which will highlight any item that you put in it and give a bit of a fake glow. It doesn't look that different for right now, but once we get shaders back, it definitely will. It will be more illuminated and show quite a bit more. So I'm definitely going to replace the whole wall of carbs here, which is all the people who have been generous to the channel so far, and replace them all with glow frames to give them a little bit more pop. The other reason that we want Glow Squid ink is to really give signs an additional pop as well. Say, for example, you have a sign that has a very important message that you want to communicate. Perfection. Now, not only can we go through and change the color of these as we could in the past, we also can really give them some extra pop by applying a glow ink sac. And it will really make the signs stand out quite a bit and be extremely readable, even in the dark, which is kind of awesome. I'm definitely planning on redoing all my signs and most of my item frames, probably not all, but that's why we built the farm in the first place. So once again, I wanted to thank you for choosing to spend the time on the adventure with me. I have been OverHugs, and this has been Building Bread. As a reminder, I donate all of the profits that I make off of this to local food banks. So if you've enjoyed or otherwise gotten something valuable out of this today, I would really appreciate it if you could like, subscribe, or tell a friend. Together, we can help people that are in need. I hope you have the most wonderful of days, and I'll see you soon.